Hey gearheads, welcome back to the garage. You know, nothing beats the rumble of a classic American V8, and today we're talking about the big dogs, the legends, General Motors muscle cars. These weren't just cars, they were statements. Back in the day, you could buy one of these bad boys right off the dealership floor and smoke just about anything on the road. We're going to take a trip down memory lane and check out the top 10 fastest GM muscle cars ever. Buckle up. Have you ever wondered what it was like when raw power and bold design ruled the streets? Imagine a time when muscle cars were the kings of the road and General Motors was leading the pack. Today we're diving into the 10 fastest classic GM muscle cars. Get ready because this is going to be one thrilling ride. Now we're kicking things off with a true icon, the 1967 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. This wasn't your mama's grocery getter. This thing was bred for the track, designed to dominate the SCCA Trans Am Racing Series. Chevy stuffed a 302 cubic inch V8 under the hood, officially rated at 290 horsepower. Now we all know those factory ratings were a little conservative, right? This thing was a rocket. With its lightweight design and that powerful V8, the Z28 could outrun just about anything on four wheels. It was a masterpiece of engineering, and it cemented the Camaro's place in muscle car history. This beauty, with its 302 cubic inch V8 engine, was designed for the track, but soon dominated the streets. Imagine the thrill of hitting the open road with this powerhouse under the hood. It was the epitome of American muscle. All right, folks, now let's talk about a car that often gets overlooked, the 1970 Buick GSX. You see this beauty sitting at the stoplight, you might think it's just another pretty face. But under the hood, this Buick was packing a serious punch. We're talking a 455 cubic inch V8 cranking out a whopping 510 pound-feet of torque. That's right, this thing had torque for days. It was the ultimate sleeper, and it could blow the doors off of cars twice its price. The GSX proved that you didn't need a flashy nameplate to be a performance king. Sometimes it's all about what's under the hood, and the GSX had it in spades. Often, the underdog, this car packed a 455 cubic inch V8 engine with 510 pound-feet of torque. It might not have been as flashy as some of its siblings, but it had the power to leave them in the dust. Now we're talking about a legend, the 1970 Chevrolet SS 454. This car was a beast on the street and a terror on the drag strip. Under the hood, you had the legendary LS6 engine, a 454 cubic inch monster that churned out an incredible 450 horsepower. This thing was a rocket. You could feel the raw power coursing through the car as you slammed the gas pedal. It was a true muscle car experience, and it cemented the Chevrolet's place in automotive history. With its LS6 engine delivering 450 horsepower, the Chevrolet was a quarter-mile champion. Picture yourself behind the wheel, feeling the raw power of this beast as it roars to life. Chapter 4, 1969 Pontiac GTO Judge, the comedy legend. You know, sometimes a car becomes more than just a car, it becomes a cultural icon. That's the story of the 1969 Pontiac GTO Judge. This car was named after a popular comedy routine on the Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In show, and it quickly became a sensation. But don't let the name fool you. This car was serious business. Under the hood, you had a 400 cubic inch Ram Air Avor V8, pumping out a tire-shredding 370 horsepower. This thing was fast, loud, and proud. It was the perfect embodiment of the muscle car era, and it remains a highly sought-after classic today. With a 400 cubic inch Ram Air 4 V8, the GTO wasn't just fast, it was a cultural phenomenon. The Judge was named after a popular comedy routine, but its performance was no laughing matter. Chapter 5, 1966. Oldsmobile 442, the sophisticated muscle. Now let's talk about a car that combined luxury and performance like no other, the 1966 Oldsmobile 442. This wasn't your average muscle car, it had an air of sophistication about it. But don't let that fool you. This Olds could hold its own on the street. Under the hood, you had a 400 cubic inch V8, cranking out a respectable 350 horsepower. This car was all about smooth power and effortless acceleration. It was the perfect choice for the discerning driver who wanted it all: style, comfort, and performance. The 1966 Oldsmobile 442 combined luxury and muscle like no other. Under the hood, a 400 cubic inch V8 producing 350 horsepower made sure this car wasn't just about looks. It was the perfect blend of power and sophistication. Chapter 6, 1970, Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, the showstopper. Now we're talking about a car that turned heads wherever it went. The 1970 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. This car was a true showstopper with its aggressive styling and that iconic screaming chicken hood decal. But the Trans Am wasn't just about looks, it had the performance to back it up. Under the hood, you had a 400 cubic inch Ram Air iVoy V8, pumping out a tire-shredding 345 horsepower. This car was a blast to drive, and it quickly became a legend on the street and the track. The 1970 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am was a true showstopper. Its 400 cubic inch Ram Air 4 V8 engine made it a fierce competitor on the track and a head-turner on the streets. It was as much about style as it was about speed. Now let's talk about a car that needs no introduction, the 1969 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray. This car was a masterpiece of engineering, and it's still considered one of the most beautiful cars ever made. But the Stingray wasn't just about looks, it was about performance. And in 1969, you could get the Stingray with the legendary L88 engine, a 427 cubic inch monster that officially produced 430 horsepower. Now, we all know those factory ratings were a little conservative, right? This thing was a rocket. It was the ultimate expression of American performance, and it remains a highly sought-after classic today. Its L88 engine, a 427 cubic inch V8, was a marvel of engineering. The Stingray was about more than just brute force. It was about precision and performance, making it a favorite among driving enthusiasts. Chapter 8, 1971 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. The legacy continues. Now we're back to the Camaro, and this time we're talking about the 1971 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. This car continued the legacy of its predecessor, offering incredible performance and handling. Under the hood, you had a 350 cubic inch LT1 V8, producing a respectable 330 horsepower. But this car was about more than just straight-line speed. It could handle the twists and turns with ease. It was the perfect blend of power and agility, and it remains a highly desirable classic today. The 1971 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 continued the legacy with its 350 cubic inch LT1 V8. This car was the perfect blend of power, agility, and style. It could handle the twists and turns as well as it could dominate the straightaways. Chapter 9, 1970, Oldsmobile 442 W30, the torque monster. Now we're back to Oldsmobile, and this time we're talking about the 1970 Oldsmobile 442 W30. This car was a true beast with a 455 cubic inch V8 that produced a monstrous 500 pound-feet of torque. That's right, this thing could pull a house down. The W30 package added even more performance goodies, making it one of the most potent muscle cars of its era. It was the perfect car for the driver who wanted to feel the asphalt roll beneath their tires. Another legend, the 1970 Oldsmobile 442 W30 with its 455 cubic inch V8 was a torque monster. The W30 package added to its performance and mystique, making it a car that commanded respect everywhere it went. Chapter 10, 1967, Chevrolet Impala SS, the heavyweight champion. Now we're ending our list with a true classic, the 1967 Chevrolet Impala SS. This car was a heavyweight contender in the muscle car wars, and it had the power to back it up. Under the hood, you could get a 427 cubic inch V8, pumping out an impressive 385 horsepower. This car was all about effortless power and cruising in style. It was the perfect car for the driver who wanted to make a statement wherever they went. With a 427 cubic inch V8, the Impala was a heavyweight champion. It was elegant and commanding, a true classic that defined an era of American muscle. Outro: the legacy of GM muscle. We've seen some amazing machines today, haven't we? These cars represent a time when gas was cheap, horsepower was king, and American ingenuity was on full display. They weren't just cars, they were rolling works of art, each with its own unique personality and story to tell. These cars weren't just about speed, they were about a time when GM muscle cars ruled the roads and captured our hearts. Each one tells a story of innovation, competition, and the pure joy of driving. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.